Technical difficulties there, but welcome in. We both try to add ourselves to the stage at the same time.
You see that?
Yeah, that was funny. Welcome into episode 86 of JD's Empire Sports Talk. Of course, I'm joined by Jake Biggie Mills once again. Last week I have a little bit of a break, but we're back. Hope your Christmas was good. And Biggie, we have any thoughts before we get into a really good show? Because the NFL and college football right now at the peak. It's the peak of the sport.
The best time. I mean, NFL playoffs, college football playoff, doesn't get any better than that. So let's get into it.
I mean, literally, we have Wednesday, which is tomorrow, Thursday, and then Friday we have a little bit of an off day. Saturday and Sunday of NFL for the next 5 days, pure football. If you're a football fan, you're going to enjoy it. And it's high stakes too, especially college football. Of course, it's the playoffs, and then NFL. I mean, even for seeding is huge. Depends what team gets the number one seed in the NFC. We still don't know that. We still don't know a division winner in both the AFC and the NFC, which we'll get to in a little bit. And then throughout the show, I threw this comment up before we started, but if anybody wants to, keep predicting and stuff like that, because I probably changed my predictions 3 times since Sunday. So I really don't know what's going on, especially
this week was nuts.
It was nuts. And last night kind of threw a wrench in everything, which is why I was like, you know what, I actually have to change what I want to talk about in terms of the playoffs, because I thought the Rams are going to be eliminating the Falcons from potentially eliminating the Buccaneers, which helps the Panthers make the playoffs. A lot of things going on, but we'll get if anyone, guys come in and out. I know we usually have the trolls that come in soon and stuff like that. We can just drop the comments in there. We'll read your guys, your predictions throughout the show as everyone bounces back and forth. But Biggie, let's start with the NFL because the NFL is what everyone watches. Everyone, I would say, literally watches it, especially in our area. Stephon Diggs and Travion Diggs, so the Diggs brothers, both made some news today, not for good reasons, let's put it that way, but Stephon Diggs accused of strangulation and assault, which is, never a good thing. I don't want to laugh about it, but no, it's definitely not. And then Travion Diggs was released by the Cowboys, but he, he's had a rough year in terms of injuries and stuff like that. But I feel like this is a weird time to do it because I would not be shocked if he goes to any one of those teams that are in the playoffs right now. Why wouldn't he, right? Like, I feel like that's something that, it can happen very easily. And if you look at it, Biggie, one thing that came to mind to me, a team that came to mind to me when I was watching last night's game was, the Rams have a good defense, but I think they lack, one specific guy that can go and do things that Diggs can do. When he's healthy, he's pretty damn good. Let's say that, right?
No, I agree. They really do, honestly. I mean, they have other guys, obviously, but I feel like you have someone like him. It's, it's different. It's a different type of, athleticism.
Yeah, but we don't know what the thing is. We don't know what, Travion Diggs we're going to get. That's the thing. We don't know. He hasn't played, but, there's a team that could take a chance. And I believe like I keep saying the Rams because McVay's a great coach. Never see any issues with the Rams. I'll tell you that.
Like, you never do.
They may have some guys, we call them characters that act out. Odell Beckham, he went to the Rams. You didn't hear a peep from him when he was there. Like, it's one of those things where you go to, LA And it seems like McVay holds anyone and everyone under control, no issues there. So, I mean, you want to take a flyer on Diggs, you don't even have to give him a contract for next year because he's not a guaranteed guy. So
Right,
you don't even have to. You could just keep him for your playoff run. And you know what? We don't want him anymore. We don't want him to help us win. We'll help us win. We'll see what happens. Some other NFL news we have was Riley Leonard will start the last game of the season for the Colts. So Phillip Rivers' second tour is now officially over, and he pretty much said he won't come back, which I don't blame him. And he shouldn't even came back in the first place. For himself, if that was me, I would have been like, no, I'm not doing that. But he's a competitor. He's a winner. He wanted to win, and went 0-3 for the Colts. But that was a team. We talked about them. What were they, 8-2 at one point? And we said, you could see it coming down, right?
And you know what? It's not even the reasons why they lost was not Phillip Rivers' fault.
No, it wasn't. The defense
he
sucked.
played out of his mind. He played really, really good. The Colts defense just looked awful the last half of the season. I don't know what happened, but it really did not look good at all.
Yeah, I remember they traded obviously for Sauce, so we talked about that, and then they had him and Tre'Davious Ward, two really good cornerbacks. That's not any slouches. Let's put it that way. And they lost both of those guys to injury, and that's when it went south for them, and they were done. And the Colts went from 8-2 to 8-8. They don't have their first round pick, which I obviously root for inside every time they lose because the Jets have the pick, so it helps us. But I mean, will it help us? We don't know. It'll be seen. We'll wait for that. But Riley Leonard getting a chance for the last game of the season, see what he's got. I mean, you see, Daniel Jones is not going to be there for probably half the season next year. So Riley Leonard could very much be the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts to start next year. It's very possible. And yes, Sauce was 1-7 with the Jets and 1-6 with the Colts. So I think he would have I think he would have the first pick of the draft if we ended the season right now. Sauce Gardner team, number one pick in the draft. That's funny, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Colts. But they have a lot of things to worry about, and will they? You know what? We don't even want Daniel Jones. He's hurt. Whatever. We'll move on. They have a lot of things to think about.
Right, and knowing how the Colts are, they rotate quarterbacks like it's they do it yearly. It seems like they're signing someone new every year.
Yeah, literally. Like people,
I don't know what's been going on with them. Like it's someone different every year.
It has been, since Andrew Luck retired very early. They've been every year. They've been changing quarterbacks. They thought, Anthony Richardson would be a guy. Unfortunately, he wasn't, and I don't think he ever will be. I don't know why people are even putting that in out there that he's.
I think he's proven that it's just not, it's not working out, and sometimes it doesn't.
And you could see it early on. You're like, I don't think this guy has it, and I don't think he is one of those. Then we talked about the Rams before a little bit, but the important part is here. They lost last night. They lost last week. So they lost 2 in a row now. And Sean McVay, it's something that right after a game, coaches may be heated, which I understand. But the media was like, oh, are you going to play your starters next week? He was like, yeah, we are. It doesn't matter what the game means, nothing. We are. So the Rams are going to try to win. We'll get to the potential playoff matchups and stuff like that in a little bit. But right now, if the seeding stayed the same, and pretty much for the Rams, they are probably going to be the 6th seed. They would play the Eagles in the playoffs. So I don't know if the Rams that loss might bite them in a couple of weeks when they have to go play postseason football once again. But Kyler Murray maybe to the Colts. I don't know. It just depends what happens with Daniel Jones, if they bring him back or not. That's the thing. I don't know if they're going to bring him back. If they don't bring him back, then I could see a Kyler or a Tua. That I agree with. But if he does come back, I don't see them going out and getting one of those guys, because then Daniel Jones comes back. One of these guys has to go to the bench. Like you're not a good
I can agree with that in a sense, but do you think they're going to retain Daniel Jones though? Like just knowing
I feel like they are. I don't know why. I feel like they are.
I mean, for how good they were, I feel like they should. But I know how the Colts are. We know how the Colts are. So you're
right. You are.
It's like, are they going to or are they not?
Yeah, and it's not even like nowadays we talk about NFL teams being incentivized to lose games. The Colts don't have their first round pick next year either, so they have no reason to even lose games. So that's the thing. They're in a very, 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 very weird situation. What do we think of Dak for Goff? I mean, Dan Campbell is pissed. I wouldn't doubt him making a bold move. That would be a nice one.
That'd be an insane move. I mean,
that would be. Listen, Dan Campbell was not happy after last week's loss on Christmas. So I would not be shocked if he goes nuclear and goes out there and makes a crazy move. I wouldn't be shocked.
That's a big move though, JD.
It is.
Goff just got there how long's been?
He's been there 5 years now, which I didn't believe
Yeah,
that, but he
it
has
doesn't
been.
feel like that. Yeah, because the Rams won the
quick.
Super Bowl in 2021, right?
It was Dan Campbell's first year. They traded Stafford. Goff came in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That would be a bold move, though. I'll tell you that. That would be
It would be
crazy.
very bold.
I mean, I feel that in the NFL this offseason, there's going to be something like that we don't expect to happen. So that could be it, maybe. Chargers will rest Justin Herbert as Trey Lance will take over for the week. So the Chargers are the 7th seed right now after they lost to Houston Saturday. And they probably, I guess they feel like, why not? Why don't we just stay as a 7th seed, whatever? I mean the 6th seed. Seven. I'm making jokes.
Yeah, the 7th.
They are the 7th seed because the Bills look like they're going to play Jacksonville. So that's something that we will talk about in a little bit as well. But let's recap week 17, which I think Christmas Day was the defining factor of what was going to happen throughout the weekend, because we thought it would be, Christmas Day doesn't look like there's any matchup, so it would be good. It's going to be the 3 road teams that win. The one team that really needed to win, I know, but Denver obviously needed to win, but they're already in the postseason. Detroit, they lost. So that kind of set the tone for the whole weekend. Let's put it that way. Cowboys beat the Commanders 30-23. Vikings beat Detroit 23-10. So the Vikings, they get eliminated from the playoffs and they haven't lost a game since, which I don't understand that. Denver beat Kansas City 20-13. So I don't know if there are any Chiefs fans watching, but now you guys understand what it looks like to watch Jet games. I mean, you can't score points. That's what we go through for years and years and years. Now the last couple of games, they can actually see what an incompetent quarterback looks like and how bad it makes your team look. Like, right?
That quarterback that they have in, he played like Mahomes in a sense, don't you think?
Yeah, he actually, I was going to say, he wasn't that terrible. But it was just some of the throws, and he couldn't put up points, which obviously we know Mahomes could do. That was the thing, but he wasn't terrible.
When you go from Pat Mahomes to a practice squad guy, what do you expect,
Yeah, because Gardner Minshew shattered his knee as well, which last week I didn't get a chance to talk about it that much because it kind of happened after, but that's unfortunate for him.
It's one of my favorite players.
You were saying a story. That was a couple of weeks ago with all the jerseys and stuff like that.
Yeah, I stopped doing it after the Colts.
You might need a new one for next year too.
I definitely. He's going to be somewhere else.
He will.
With my luck, to go to Dallas.
Probably is the backup. Yeah,
that's why I stopped, especially when he went to the Chiefs, because I didn't get the Raiders one, and then he went to the Chiefs. I'm like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore.
Way. You can't. Yeah, exactly. Texans beat the Chargers 20-16. Listen, man, we've been talking about it. I know CT left us a nice long message in our group chat. We have
that he did.
The Texans are one of the hottest teams in the league. They haven't lost, I think, in 2 months at this point. Whatever it's
can't sleep on them, dude.
You can't. The defense.
That defense is deadly.
Unreal. It's unreal, and it might carry them to the Super Bowl. I would not be shocked. I wouldn't
be either. Because they're the undisputed dark horse. I think
they really are. And I was thinking about this, Biggie. I was saying every other year you think about in the AFC, the Chiefs and the Patriots when Tom Brady was there. Those two teams, it didn't matter what you had. You have a great defense, they will overcome that. This year there isn't that team like that. Denver
and you know what's crazy, and I wouldn't even. Most people probably wouldn't agree with me on this. That team's Buffalo this year, which it's just experience. It's the experience with Buffalo. It's not that they're the best team. It's the experience. Right. They've been there year in, year out.
And they're in the position where they're going to have to overcome everything to go on the road every single game, which I don't see that happening.
This NFL season's nuts.
It is. It really is nuts. And I feel I like how you mentioned the Bills, because the Texans, I feel Josh Allen's kryptonite is the Texans defense. He cannot beat them. I don't know what it is. He cannot beat them. That was, the 49ers have DeMeco Ryans' defense, which is what Robert Saleh ran. Those two, were, big in San Francisco the first time. And I feel even when Josh Allen played the Jets, when Robert Saleh was the head coach, that he couldn't do anything against them. Yeah, he may win, but they didn't win because of him. So I feel Houston can win because they have that quarterback that actually can make plays. And Josh Allen, that's his kryptonite, I feel. Houston, the Houston defense. And then Saturday night, the Ravens, which was the shocker, I think, of the weekend. Ravens put a beat down on the Packers, 41-24.
A beat down.
A beat down by Derrick Henry. Let's put it that King Henry, 216 yards.
Loved him this week.
Oh man, he turned back. I know he turned back the clock. He's been great his whole career, but he really turned back to like his Tennessee days Saturday night. And when when he used to go for 200 yards casually against Jacksonville every single time he played them, that's what Derrick Henry did against Green Bay. And they're giving themselves a chance to win the division this Sunday. And I think the Steelers left that door a little too open for Baltimore to sneak in there, which we'll get to, of course, as well. And then Sunday, Cincinnati beat the Cardinals 37-14. Joe Burrow played great. That was a game that was non-competitive from the start. Cleveland beat Pittsburgh 13-6. Pittsburgh, if they won that, if the Ravens lost Saturday night, they would have won the division. That didn't happen. Then Pittsburgh had to beat Cleveland. They didn't do that either. So now this week they have to actually play the team they're trying to beat to win the division, which is crazy to say after, Steelers beat the Lions a few weeks ago, and they're like, oh, I guess the Steelers are a lock for the division. Ravens look dead to rights after losing to the Patriots. That all changes. And now you got Cleveland squeaking away with a 13-6 win. Defense was great from Cleveland. They were like all over Rodgers the entire game. He looked like he was very frustrated. I feel like there was moments when he tried to do too much. And listen, I know we're going to give our picks on this game later on, but I think that DK Metcalf suspension is going to be a little troublesome for Pittsburgh.
I agree, and it couldn't have came at a worse time. And as it's looking right now, a worse team to face at the moment. But we'll get to that,
Yeah, we'll get to it. And we looked at it. I talked about it last week. I made the reel about it on Instagram and YouTube. I got a lot of pushback from the people on YouTube. Like not about me, just like in the sense of why is he getting suspended 2 games? I said, listen, the NFL knows there's 2 games left in the regular season and they're trying to win a division. You want to do something stupid like that? All right, you're gonna get suspended for 2 games. Like the NFL, they know what's going on. Like in the public eye, they get it. They get why they do. Everyone should understand they do certain things, like put the Steelers Ravens Sunday night because they know it's potentially Aaron Rodgers' last game, and we're gonna make it the last game of the NFL regular season. Like the storylines are always there. It's like a WWE storyline. That's literally what it is.
That's a good way to put it. It really is. I mean,
it is. And by suspending Metcalf for 2 games, all right, Steelers don't make the postseason. What's going to be the whole thing surrounding Pittsburgh until next year? DK Metcalf, highest paid receiver in the league, gets suspended the last 2 games of the regular season, and the Steelers don't make the playoffs. If he's in there, they probably win one of the games. And they have no other weapons. They had Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who, he's always been an okay guy. He's a number 4 receiver. He's not a number 1. Adam Thielen is washed up at this point. They don't even play Calvin Austin anymore. I don't know where he is. He might be in like witness protection at this point. I haven't seen him on the field in weeks. Pat Freiermuth doesn't play. Darnell Washington got hurt. Jonnu Smith doesn't even know any of the plays. Aaron Rodgers always looks like he's screaming at him. I mean, his number one weapon is Kenneth Gainwell. Like, what do you like? No offense to Kenny Gainwell, but he should not be your number one weapon.
When he was with the Birds, but now it's like,
I mean, come on, right? Like, we gotta be realistic here. The Steelers don't have any weapons besides DK Metcalf, and him not being available.
Scotty Miller.
Scotty Miller. Yeah, I forgot about him too. I was trying to go down all the washed up receivers.
But I was waiting for you and you didn't, so I had to pitch it in there.
No, they're so washed up. I didn't even remember him. I kind of forgot about him. He came out of nowhere like the last 2 weeks. I didn't even know he was on the roster either. I'm waiting for the Allen Lazard to Pittsburgh signing. I'm waiting for that one next.
It might happen.
It might happen for this week at least.
Yeah.
Saints beat the Titans 34-26. So Tyler Shuck is putting on a nice display, showing that he can actually be the quarterback there, which I think anyone that watches football, when they drafted him in the 2nd round, we're like, oh, I know who he is, but he shouldn't have been the pick there.
He's actually been okay. Like, is this guy ever going to see the field? I mean, wow.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
And you got to give him credit, and I'm going to say it because I miss him so much in Philadelphia. Kellen Moore. I mean, to have a roster like that, which isn't, I wouldn't say it's the worst in the league, but
probably top 5 worst.
It's top 3 worst, I'd say. Top 3 worst. And you have guys that you have some known guys like Taysom Hill, obviously, and Alvin Kamara, but they're guys that are just been there forever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Olave's good. Olave's good.
He's good. Yeah.
And what's the defensive tackle's name?
Cam Jordan, Mario Davis. They have some.
But that's not like you talk about dominant teams. They weren't even close in that contention. They were projected to go win 1 or 2 games with that roster.
Everybody was like they're gonna one game they'll win is the Jets.
And Tyler Show might win the rookie
of the year.
Rookie of the year. Right.
Yeah, he might.
Yeah.
He might win the Rookie of the Year, which is crazy to say that he didn't even start the year. They put him in halfway, and he's
Well, I
he's
mean,
going
their quarterback
off. And it
room
looks,
good too.
and I think, we talked about this all the time. If you find your quarterback, it makes everything else easier because you can worry about every other position because you have the guy, which is the hardest position to find. I'm not saying it's easy because obviously the team I root for, we know that's not easy. But if you can find them, it helps a lot. Let's go to what game? Jaguars versus the Colts. Jags got the win 23-17. Colts were already eliminated, so the game didn't really matter. But Jacksonville goes out there, squeaks out a close win, and they have to win. They still didn't win a division, so they have to win these games. And they'll continue into week 18, where if they win a division with Houston right there, like we've been talking about. Then Miami beats the Bucs 20-17. Tampa Bay has been a mess since the bye week. They won one game since the bye week.
I think Todd Bowles needs to go.
I agree. I agree.
Get him out of there. Get them a good coach, and they're going to be insane because that team is too good not to be at least a top 5 in the NFC.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like you look at the team, they have 5.
And
they have 5
how good they were to start too.
Oh yeah, we were like, oh, they might maybe they can make the Super Bowl. Like that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And now but I guess his voice has went stale. With them because even the defense, which the defense, I'm not saying it was ever locked down with Todd Bowles, but never like this. And Liam Cohen probably should be.
I was just gonna say that
that probably would have been the right move for them.
Letting Liam Cohen go because look at how great he's doing.
Exactly, probably coach of the year. If not, he will be up there in consideration for it. Zach Taylor can be a guy. See it.
I think the problem with Zach Taylor is it's not that he's a bad coach, it's just not working out. And there's been so many things against the Bengals that I just think, it got to a point where it just wasn't working. So I think he'd be a great coach on the Bucs. I mean, he even had the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I remember that in 2021.
Yeah, he did. Right? He did. Yeah. I mean, listen, it depends what happens with that. I think he's kind of a one-dimensional coach in the terms of, he's an offensive guy. It doesn't seem like he knows how to, coach a whole team. But he has had success before, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Then we had the Patriots I don't even know what you want to even call this. I guess we'll just say for the show's sake, beating the Jets 42-10. Drake May threw 5 touchdowns. Didn't even break a sweat. And one of the comments from before, Antonio, Jets they will win this week because the Bills are gonna play their third strings and the Jets are gonna win the game like 10-9 or something like that. Just to
it's gonna be like a 10-9, 10-7 game.
And
Mitch Trubisky.
Literally, Mitch Trubisky, he probably won't even play the whole game. He'll play half the game, and they'll put in whoever the hell their third string is, which I don't even know who it is nowadays at this point. And I just listen. I understood going into the year that they were going to lose games, but you can't lose games like this and be okay with it. I'm sorry, you can't. And it's 4 straight weeks of it. You're not even competitive. You don't even look like you care. Like from top to bottom.
I noticed that, and so when I was leaving your area, I was able to get the Jets game because I had it on the radio. Mm-hmm. Had it on the radio, and then right before I crossed into Pennsylvania, I had it on YouTube TV playing through my car, and you could just tell they just don't care. There's something like there's a vibe there that they gave up. They were satisfied with winning those 2 in a row, and they're like, all right, well, we did more than we were expected to. Let's just tank now, and let's not care.
Yeah, and I think that
throw Cookie in there.
Yeah, that's when. Listen, I know there's been plenty of mistakes that Glenn has made. I think one of them was going to Brady Cook when he did. Listen, Brady Cook had to come in the game when Tyrod got hurt. I understand that, but there was no reason to start him the next week. At this point, obviously, Justin Fields sucks as well. I'm not saying we have a golden room to pick from, but at least he would have provided a little something more than what Cook has provided nothing. I think that me and you can play better quarterback than what Brady Cook has played. He has 1 touchdown in 5 games now. And I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying Glenn has not made good decisions this year at all. I don't really agree with anything he's done for the most part. And listen, he doesn't look like he's cut out for it. You can just tell he doesn't look like he's cut out for his job. It just doesn't seem that way. You can always say, listen, when Robert Saleh was here his first year, listen, it looked like they weren't good. I'll put it that way. But it looked like he was going to be able to develop the team, which he did. Listen, he just didn't get a quarterback. It is what it is. But this doesn't. Aaron Glenn should not be the guy. You can just see it. He should not be the guy that develops a next quarterback. I don't think him and his entire coaching staff can do that. And if you mess up another quarterback, you're done. And he's going to get fired. Yeah. And even listen, I've been saying this. You're going to go 3-14 this year. He's going to start next year. Say they start out slow, 1-5, 2-6. He's going to get fired right away, and then you just wasted an entire year on this again.
Yeah,
it just
when you knew it was going to happen too.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just Aaron Glenn. Listen, bringing in Steve Wilkes. This is a guy that has been. He's had a different job every year. And, in any walk of life, if you have a different job every single year, you have something wrong. Like, you have problems. And something is not your personality and things that you're trying to, teach and stuff like that. It's not working. The Aaron Rodgers one, I don't know if I can agree with that just because I feel they probably wouldn't have even been a playoff team anyway. So it would just been another year of what it was last year, just, winning 5 to 7 games and whatever. And then you keep Glenn for next year, and then what? You bring in a young quarterback that you probably can't develop anyway.
Right?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't agree with that. And yeah, Robert Saleh, he almost beat Tom Brady. I remember that. We were at that game. Tom Brady and Zach Wilson went head to head when the Bucs are pretty good. Jets almost beat them. So yeah, it's like that's what I'm saying. We've seen our share of head coaches for the Jets that had their first year. It didn't go so great, but they showed a little bit of promise to show that they can actually do something. I don't think Glenn has shown any promise. And when you're losing 4 games in a row,
I want to bring that up. Like even with Saleh, like they weren't great, but there were times where there was some fight there, man. Like,
there was always fight with him. Yeah, I feel it was always.
I know. As a fan, you're sick and tired of nothing. You know what I mean? But at least the last couple of years they've shown fight. This year, there's been none at all. None. It's like they've laid flat every game. They haven't even tried, it seemed like. Like last year, like in the year prior, like the years with Robert Saleh, and obviously, back in the early 2010s, the Rex Ryan era, which I think that was the dumbest thing ever, firing him. To be honest, I don't know how you feel, but like, ever since then, it was like, it was bad seasons, but it was never like, it wasn't like the Cleveland Browns every year, like going 0-17, 1-15. They were at least competitive. This year, it's like that. You know what I mean? It hasn't been like that in a little bit. Obviously, they haven't been amazing, but they've been competitive in 5-6 wins, 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a completely different vibe. And I personally, from watching football, think it's terrible.
I agree. And I think that as Jeff fans as a whole, listen, when we're not, like you just said, we haven't had any success at all recently, but at least we look back on those, before this year. Okay, we actually look like, besides last year, we look like we're building to something. This is not building to anything like that.
I say this literally amounted to nothing.
Literally nothing. You just took, bless you. You took a few months off of our lives and didn't get anything out of it. You don't know who your quarterback is. More than half of your defenses will not even be on the team next year. You got a running back that probably doesn't want to be here anymore, and you're probably going to attempt to throw a bunch of money at him to keep him here.
Yeah, did you see his press conference?
Yeah, he was not happy. You could tell he was not happy about being in that game and tweaking his knee a little bit. And you have a wide receiver one who's probably the best player on your team, Garrett Wilson, I would say. And he's gonna have another quarterback next year. It's a joke. It's a complete
they're not
joke.
keeping any of those guys.
No, you're not. You're not. I would nuke the quarterback room. I wouldn't go anywhere near that thing. That thing is not good. And yeah, Ego makes a good point. Defensive back, head coach, a guy that played cornerback in the NFL. His team has 0 interceptions and has let up 32 passing touchdowns this year.
That is insane. How do you not have one pick the entire year?
Not one interception this year. And listen, I was on Glenn's side up until a month ago. I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, okay, they won a few games. They won 3 out of 5. Whatever. They started at 0-7. You win 3 out of 5. Okay, it looks like they're actually doing something here. They're trying. They're actually looking like they want to play football. And then you do this the last 4 weeks. No one's going to be able to defend you. And he just comes with that attitude in the sense of he thinks he's better than everybody, which I ranted about this, probably in I think it was week 1 or 2, maybe I think it was week 2, that Glenn thinks he's better than everybody. Glenn thinks he's better and he still you can't have that. You shouldn't have that, that mentality anyway. But when you don't win, you have nothing to back it up. So it's just
and again, they got to a point where it just looked like they stopped trying. Like, how could you act that way and you're on the sidelines with no emotion. Your team looks like they're like, just out there just because they have to be.
Yeah, like you know what? Yeah, we signed our contract. We do have to play 17 games. We have to be here. That's literally what they did on Sunday. That's pretty much what they did.
It's a very good comparable comment. Like, yeah, I'm not saying that the Jets are on the level of that because, well, maybe Cookie's on the level of Joe Filardi, maybe. But yeah, like literally, like we put a true freshman walk-on quarterback against a top should have been a playoff team. A team that was what was Notre Dame at that time? 7, 8,
something like that.
Yeah, they were in the top.
They were up there,
single digit ranked team.
Yeah.
And we put out a true freshman walk-on lacrosse player. And our defense, thank God, Elijah Robinson's gone. I think he went to LSU with Lane Kiffin, and we have a new DC. So again, it's funny. Like JD, I feel a lot differently about college football than you do. Me and him have this conversation all the time. It's like I tell you, I'm like, now I understand how you feel, JD. Like when Syracuse, once we met and I realized you're a Jet fan, I'm like, yeah, this is how I feel, but for college. And you say, well, for you, it's different, right? You feel like, for me, I'm the opposite. So, like, as passionate about the Jets as you are, that's how I am with Syracuse. That's how I am with college football compared to the NFL. Like, we're like the opposite in that way. So, like, I understand your pain being a fan of a college football program that hasn't done anything since the 90s and, gives us a good season here or there. And then just, we have expectations and then down the drain.
Right.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you're saying. The only thing I would say is to be, in a professional league, you have a much better chance of having success because
for sure.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's kind of
what be this bad for this long. You cannot be this bad for this long.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like going back to Marty's comment, like, yeah, like Syracuse had good seasons here and there, but that's college football. This is the professional NFL. And if you look
exactly.
If you're comparing those two games, those two programs, like teams, there's something wrong, man.
There is something wrong. Let's be nice. They have 4 takeaways. They did have 1 for a long time. Now they have 4, and it's all fumbles. They got 1 on special teams and 3 defensive fumble recovery. So we'll give them a little bit. We won't clown on them too much. But yeah, Marty, good point. The Browns beat Pittsburgh. They're the same record as the Jets. Like they played a tough. They actually looked like they wanted to be on a football field. The Jets don't care. The guys that they have there, most of them don't have enough talent, obviously. And the ones that do, like a Jermaine Johnson, he doesn't care anymore. He's done. Breece Hall, he got his 1,000 yards. He's probably packing it up. I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't even play, on Sunday. And they're just rolling along, whatever. And Glenn is probably one of those guys that doesn't seem like he has like a good relationship with the team. I know that when you don't win, it doesn't help. But I feel like that's the case.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, when it comes to football, if you don't win, obviously it hurts you. But the coach has to, if this is the mentality of your players, like, there's something wrong with the head coach.
In year one,
you want to have your best, like all your best players, like clearly show that they don't want to be there. That's a problem with the head coach. I know from playing football, if the head coach is not into it and is not, good like that, I'm trying to say, like, that's a problem on the head coach. Like, you can have all the talent in the world, but if your locker room and your mentality sucks, it's just, you could see it,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right, let's move on. Enough talking about this team. We'll talk about them obviously next week, and hopefully it's them looking for another coach, which I wasn't so in like an agreement with. But now, like, they watch the last 4 games, it just makes it, because it makes you look incompetent when you fire another coach after you just fired one. But you gotta make a big boy decision, and you gotta be like, you know what, this is not working. I wouldn't have said this a month ago. How I didn't really like, and people that talked to me about Glenn and stuff like that wasn't sold on the hire in the beginning. But the fact he started out 0-7, I was like, yeah, it makes me look actually like a genius right now. Then he went 3-2 in 5 games. I'm like, okay, you win a couple more games, which the Saints game shouldn't have been a blowout. Miami shouldn't have been a blowout. There's a few other games in there lately where, like, you shouldn't have got blown out, and it makes it worse. And now I can't defend him anymore. The little bit I had in him to defend him, I can't defend him. Yes, he is Gerard Mayo. It's the same situation. The thing is, the Patriots are a competent organization where they identify when they're like, you know what, we made a mistake. We're going to move on. We're going to bring in Mike Vrabel. But the thing is, can the Jets get there, Mike Vrabel? I don't think that's it, because they've been so bad for so long. I don't know who in their right mind, unless you're like sick in the head, you're going to be like, you know what? I want to take this job on and I want to win. I don't know who would going to be the guy that would be like, I'm going to try to do something different here. I don't know who that is. Because listen, it's easy to go to an organization that is rich and winning, right, Biggie? It's very easy to do that. Mike Vrabel stepped into a situation when that team has won for years. Oh, they were down for 3 years. Why? Because they're transitioning into a different situation where they had Belichick and Brady. They're now gone. It's different. The Jets, I don't know if they can get a coach that can come in here and be like, I want to do this. I want to change this team around. I don't know if there's anybody that's willing to do that. You don't find many coaches like that anyway. I'm going to be honest with you. You really don't.
Matty V, I'm sorry. We have to switch our gears a little bit because he obviously is very not smart. Does this look like Marywood to you? Thank you.
You look like a giant highlighter. Oh, he just learned highlighter today, I think, that word. Let's go back to football here, where the Seahawks beat the Panthers 27-10. This is, I think, a three game at halftime or something like that. But Seattle always starts out slow. They find their way after that and they take off. So Seattle versus San Francisco, which we'll pick later on and talk about it a bunch. That's gonna be a really good game Saturday.
That's a huge game.
Huge game. And last year this time Sam Darnold was in another huge game like that. And he didn't win that one, and then he got to the playoffs and he didn't win that one either. So this is the week that will, determine if Sam Darnold has flipped the switch a little bit on him being clutch or not. Giants beat the Raiders 34-10. Jackson Dart looked great. I think we could talk about the Giants here a little bit. I think that if they get the correct coach in there, they have plenty of potential to go and be good next year. I really think that's the case. They have a lot of defensive talent. Listen, they fired their defensive coordinator 5 weeks ago at this point, and they improved already. So imagine they actually bring in a guy that actually knows what he's doing with a defense. That defense is going to be even better. Next year, you get Scatterboo back. You get Malik Neighbors back. Have to try to retain Wan'Dale Robinson. He's a very good slot receiver who's played much better than I think anybody ever expected this year. I mean, he's like 7 catches away from 100 catches on the year, over 1,000 yards. He's been really good. They have a couple tight ends there. I know Theo Johnson is one of those guys. He can be really good for them. Bring in a veteran wide receiver. Get Dart a coach that can actually coach him and not be afraid to let him loose. As I feel like the last couple of weeks, Dart has taken a little bit back. I don't know if it's himself or the coach is telling him to do it, and he's not as effective when he's not playing, reckless. So, which I think you could take it 2 ways. Yeah, you could play reckless and get yourself hurt, but you can also play reckless and be like, a guy that's like, oh, okay, like Baker Mayfield. He plays reckless and he's good at it. Like that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. And we'll see. We'll see what happens to the Giants, but I think that they can't screw this higher up because it won't help. Jackson Dart has to develop. He's already pretty good. He's already really good as a rookie. He has to hit that next step.
And it's just crazy to me, and I'll say it all the time. The Giants, for how good of a team they have, how are they so bad?
3 wins. They should not have 3 wins this year.
No
shot.
No. Like you need the only glaring holes they have are secondary, and
secondary's not good.
Maybe a few guys up front. That's about it. They have their quarterback of the future, Jackson Dart, I think. When he's back, Scatterboo, and even without him, they have Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary too. So they have a good running back. Let's go to the receivers: Wan'Dale Robinson, Malik Neighbors when he comes back, and then even Theo Johnson's good. You know what I mean? Like they got a good team. And their defensive line. I mean, Brian Burns is one of the best defensive linemen in the whole league.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. Abdul Carter's actually playing better now.
Abdul Carter's playing well. Dexter Lawrence. I mean, they got a really good team. I just don't. It's just crazy that those 2 glaring holes are affecting them so much. And obviously, coaching was an issue.
It's the coaching. Yeah,
it was the coaching. So and I think if they upgrade those positions and they get a good coaching staff, they're going to be pretty dangerous. They got a lot of talent. It's just I don't know how they have 3 wins. It's
exactly. Insane. If they have to just go out there and get themselves, the right guy, and don't do it just because Jackson Dart feels that he likes this guy. You have to do it for the entire team. Yeah, you want to make it happy, but it has to be for the entire team. And who's going to get the most, out of the best team that you got there. The Eagles beat the Bills 13-12. Horrible weather game. I've never seen that much rain in my life during a football game.
Horrible game.
But listen, good teams find a way to win that. That's what
they do. Right, exactly. But I'm disappointed with the Eagles offense. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, they gotta
Tulo's one of the worst offensive coordinators. I'm sorry. I don't care how much we've been winning. I don't care. That game should have been a 35-13 game. There's no way we should have only put up 13 and had to come to Josh Allen missing his guy by like 10 yards. Like, horrible throw by Josh Allen going for 2.
It was 13-0. Right, it was 13-0 for a long time between the second and the third quarter. That's where you put the pedal to the metal a little bit, and you go get some more points, and they just didn't.
Or
they
don't
got
let
away
up,
from the game.
Or you don't let yourself get in that situation.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know. I don't know why they. I don't know. They're winning still, but I understand the frustrations. I watch them. I'm like, what is this? What are we doing? Like, why?
Yeah, and you're probably like, well, at least the team's good. At least your team hasn't won a Super Bowl last year.
Yeah,
you're disappointed about them not playing well when they're going to get a home playoff game and they're reigning Super Bowl champs. Yeah, I am, of course.
Yeah, I mean, when you guys when you guys win games, you're allowed to nitpick it. Yeah, you're exactly, and you could see when it's not there. I mean, I don't feel that because obviously, I don't, but I understand it. I totally understand it. Then we got the 49ers beating the Bears 42-38. This was probably the game of the year, one of the games of the year besides the Seattle Rams game that we had, last week. 49ers looking like they're the hottest team in the league right now. They win this week. They get the number 1 seed, which we mentioned a few times already. Seems like Christian McCaffrey is playing better and better every week. Seems like he's perfectly healthy. And I think after I watched that game, I sat back and I'm like, yeah, the Bears just lost right now, but I think the Bears are making the NFC Championship. That's what I took out of that game. I really think they can do it.
I agree, and we've said it week in and week out. They're gonna fall. You remember we were saying that right before the Eagles game on Black Friday. They're gonna fall off. They haven't. They really have not at all. I mean, wow, they're really good.
And they still have, defensively. Besides if they don't get turnovers, they're not a good unit. But I think that they can still get those turnovers. They've been doing it all year. It's crazy. It's really really good. Good for the Bears that they're able to do this, and I think that I really do think they're going to be in the NFC Championship. I just feel that they have what they need, and they're not even fully healthy, which they can get to, in a few weeks when the postseason comes around. And then last night, Falcons beat the Rams 27-24. Rams were down 21-3 or something like that, 24-3, whatever it was, and Falcons escaped with the win. But the Falcons didn't need the win. The Rams did, and now the Rams probably cost themselves the 5 seed after losing that game, which is not good for the Rams because someone mentioned it before. I forget where it was, but the 5 seed gets to play the Panthers or the Bucks. Yeah, you pretty much have a good chance at winning that game. I think Rams, 49ers, Seahawks, you play the Panthers or the Buccaneers in the first round, you're probably going to win that game. And if you don't, that's bad on you because those teams are not good. Panthers or Bucks are not good teams. So I think that's the case for the Rams. They screwed up there a little bit. They win that game last night, you would have been okay. Let's do the preview of Week 18, then we'll look at the playoff picture, and then we'll give our predictions of the the top 7 in the AFC, top 7 in the NFC in terms of actual seeding as well. So if you guys want to start in the comments, start writing down who you think is going to be the top 7 in the exact order of the AFC and the NFC. You guys can start doing that because we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's preview Week 18 where we have the Carolina Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Saturday afternoon. For the division, maybe. Let's put it that way, because if the Bucks win, the Panthers are 8-9, they're 8-9. But then also the Falcons, if they win on Sunday, they're 8-9. So then the Panthers win the division. So the only way the Bucks can win the division is if they win themselves and the Saints can beat the Falcons. So the Bucks are not just winning in at this point. They have to worry about some things on Sunday. The Panthers, if they win, they're in just by winning the game. So the Bucks are not just in by winning. They have to have the Saints beat the Falcons, because if not, then the Panthers make it anyway. So that's something to keep an eye on. Then the Seahawks play the 49ers. 49ers win that game. They're the number 1 seed. Seahawks win the game. They're the number 1 seed. The loser will be the 5 seed just because of what the Rams not winning that game, like I said. So that's not good for LA, but these two teams are in the driver's seat. And if the 49ers win this game, they had last week they were home, this week they were home, and they potentially can have a home game, or they will have a home game if they make the Super Bowl as well. So potentially 5 straight games of not even leaving. So not even leaving town at all. So 49ers, you win this game, you're putting yourself in a really, really, really good spot. Then let's go to Sunday where we have the Saints taking on the Falcons. I already talked about, the implications of that game. Falcons win, that can cost the Bucs a lot. Browns versus Bengals, that game means absolutely nothing. Packers versus Vikings. Packers are not going to play anybody. They already said that. So I would expect the Vikings to win that game as well. Cowboys versus Giants. Cowboys, for some reason, Dak is not expected to play the whole game. I think that's actually part of they want the Giants to win so the Giants get screwed out of a draft pick. I think that's kind of a new part of the NFL where teams are playing each other and they know they don't really want to win. Like the Giants aren't really, interested in winning right now. They win that game. They get, a little lower in the draft slot. Then we have the Titans taking on the Jaguars. So the Jaguars need to win this game because then they win the division. And then the other game, Colts versus Texans. So that game is going to be going on at the same time. Jags lose, Texans win. They win a division. So that's something we got to keep an eye on. But I would expect the Jags and the Texans to both win. If the Jaguars lose to the Titans, something went wrong. Let's say that because that's not supposed to happen. Then we'll go to the 425 games. Jets versus Bills. Bills don't look like they're going to be playing their starters, so they're perfectly okay with being the 6th seed. Herbert's not playing for the Chargers, so that's probably why they're doing that because they know they're going to be the 6th seed regardless. So the Bills will probably still win anyway because the Jets are the Jets. Lions versus the Bears. Bears are still playing for that 2nd seed. They're tied with the Eagles, but if the Bears win the game, they are the 2 seed. So that's important for the Bears. And I remember Bears lost to the Lions by about 30 points in week 2. So I don't think the Bears want to lose this game. And Ben Johnson's going to go full throttle. I think he's going to try to, run up the score on them a little bit.
I agree 100%. Set the tone for the playoffs too, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Chargers versus Broncos. Broncos win. They're the number 1 seed. Chargers, like I said, Herbert's not playing, so doesn't seem like they're they're okay with being the 7th seed, playing the Patriots most likely the week after. Chiefs versus Raiders. This doesn't really have much meaning except that if the Raiders lose, they get the first pick. If they win, Giants lose, Giants get the first pick. So that's a lot of keep an eye on there. Cardinals versus Rams. Rams are going to play their starters, but they're pretty much locked into the 6th seed. Miami versus Patriots. Patriots win. They're the number 2 seed. If the Broncos lose, they're the number 1 seed. But I think the Broncos, like I said, will win that. Patriots are just probably going to play their guys for a little bit. Then Commanders versus Eagles. Eagles and the Bears, like we talked about. Eagles win, the Bears lose. Eagles are the 2 seed. Bears win, Eagles win. Eagles don't move. But Eagles can't go down. So they're either going to be a 3 or a 2 seed. Pretty much they will be the 3 seed. And then the last game of the regular season, Ravens versus Steelers for the division. And that will most likely be a matchup with the Houston Texans the week after that. Steelers right now 9-7, Ravens 8-8. So it's lining up just how the the AFC North usually does. Very competitive, but not great teams. Let's put it that way. But we'll see what happens Sunday night. Then let's do the playoff picture, the actual playoff picture right now, and then we'll do our predictions quickly. So let's pull up the playoff predictions here. So I'll do the AFC, and then Biggie will do the NFC. So right now we have the Broncos at 13-3 as your number 1 seed. We already talked about that. They win, they stay the same. Patriots at 13-3. They win, Broncos lose. They become the number 1 seed. Jacksonville 12-4. If the Broncos and Patriots both lose, the Jags can be the number 1 seed. Steelers right now 9-7 as your 4 seed. Houston 11-5 as your 5 seed. Chargers 11-5 as your 6 seed, and Bills 11-5 as your 7 seed. And then the Ravens are the only team that have a chance at making it. They're 8-8, but if they win, they would have to obviously win the division, which they would if they beat the Steelers. So the matchups would be right now: Broncos would have the bye, Patriots would be playing the Bills, Jaguars would be playing the Chargers, Steelers would be playing the Texans, which I expect a little movement there, which I'll get to when I give my predictions. But then, Biggie, what do we have with the NFC before we hit our predictions?
Yeah, so right now the Seahawks have that number 1 seed. And then we have the Bears at the 2 seed and the Packers with the 7th seed. And I just got to say, the NFC is nuts. I mean, how are all this is crazy. Besides the Panthers, no offense, how this is insane. I love it. The Eagles be playing the Rams. The Eagles have that 3 seed. I don't see much change in there. And then the Panthers and the 49ers right now would have that. Again, that's, a lot could be decided there. 49ers have a huge game like this. Really, this could be big if they win this game. I mean, wow. The NFC is great right now. I love it. Like, it's awesome.
It is.
We could potentially see a 5th seed go to the 1st seed. Like, insane.
In one game. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is crazy. And I feel in the NFC, we still don't know who's going to make the Super Bowl. We have 5 teams, I think, that have a legit chance. I would say the NFC South winner obviously doesn't have a chance. And I don't think just because of what's happened to Green Bay with the injuries, I think that they're going to be a team that, doesn't have a chance like they did originally. But I think those injuries hit them at the wrong time, and they're not going to, be able to overcome that. So that's a part of it as well.
Either, so.
Yeah. All right. Let's do our predictions. So I'll do it first. So in the AFC, I think the Broncos will have the bye. The Patriots will be the number 2 seed, so I have no change in that. So I think the Patriots will play the Chargers. So I think that's going to be the difference because the Chargers are going to lose this week, so they're going to drop below Buffalo. Buffalo's going to slide up to the 6th seed where they're going to play Jacksonville at number 3. So the Jaguars, the number 3 seed, versus the Bills at the number 6 seed. So we'll flop the Chargers and the Bills, and then I actually think I wrote this in the notes wrong. The Ravens are going to win the AFC North, and they're going to play the Texans as the number 5 seed. I made a mistake here.
Yeah.
I wrote the Steelers, but I meant the Ravens because later on you guys will see why. But I think the Ravens will play the Texans. And let me put it this way. When you leave the door open, like I said before, a little too much, and it leaves someone a chance to sneak in, the Ravens are going to take advantage of this, and Derrick Henry is going to have he's going to go off again. They're going to ride Derrick Henry right into the postseason, and I think the fact that DK Metcalf is suspended gives Rodgers no weapons outside, and I think that the Ravens are going to, they're going to win the game, and they're going to get right in there. Even if Lamar doesn't play, by the way, I feel that confident in Snoop Huntley going in there in Pittsburgh and winning this game Sunday night. That's how I feel about the Ravens. I didn't feel that way last week. Yeah, I wrote that the wrong way. My apologies on that. But I feel, like I said, the Ravens were given a second life. Kyle Van Noy tweeted it. Undertaker coming out of the tomb. That is what the Ravens got, a second chance.
I mean,
they're not gonna let it go. I'm telling you, they're not gonna let it go.
Yeah, and then for my AFC, I pretty much have the same thing. I think the Broncos retain that number 1 seed. I think the Chargers do fall to the 7th seed. Right. And I think the Bills do end up playing the Jags, which I think is a fantastic first round matchup. Gotta love it. And I think the Ravens beat the Steelers and then we're going to go to Ego's comment here, which I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, they can't throw. We saw it last week.
No pass game without DK. And another thing that I didn't understand is it seemed like they cared way more about not letting Myles Garrett get that sack record than actually winning the football game. Right?
It seemed that way. It did seem that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so I think we're going to see a Ravens-Texans matchup, and the Ravens sneak away with that AFC North division.
All right. So, yeah, we were in agreement there because the Bills can't jump the Texans because the Texans beat them. So that is pretty much where the Bills can only get the 6th seed or the 7th seed. I think the Chargers, listen, they're both going to – Bills and Chargers are both going to play their backups. But the fact that the Chargers are playing the Broncos on the road and the Bills are playing the Jets, I think that's going to be, the difference in that situation. But let's go to the NFC where, sorry to break it, I know George is probably watching here. He's a big Seahawks fan, but they're not going to win this week. Sam Darnold's going to do what he did last year and lose the number 1 seed once again. 49ers are my number 1 seed. They're going to get the bye. Bears are my number 2 seed, so I think they're going to beat Detroit, and they're going to serve as the number 2 seed. Packers can't go anywhere, so they're the number 7 seed. Eagles are going to win as well, but they can't jump the Bears if they both win. So they're going to play the Rams at the 6th seed. I think the Panthers aren't going to win the game, Biggie. They're not going to win the game. But because the Falcons are going to win Sunday, that's going to put the Panthers into the playoffs. That's how I feel. I think Ego mentioned that before, the way the NFC South works. I think that's what's going to happen. The Bucs are going to beat the Panthers. They're both going to be 8-9. Then the Falcons are going to beat the Saints on Sunday for a 3-way tie at 8-9, but the Falcons are obviously eliminated, which pushes the Panthers into the postseason. And then I think with Seattle losing to the 49ers, Seattle's going to be the number 5 seed, and they're going to play the Panthers, which they'll beat them once again because, I don't know. I don't think Carolina's ready, for that yet. I think they're going to be good next year, but I just don't think – nice that they make the postseason, but I think next year – that's the year for Carolina, but Seattle will play Carolina, I think, again. What do we got for the NFC?
And I'm not just saying it because our viewer, Mr. George Wanaka's here. I think the Seahawks do win the game. I just think.
Oh, okay.
I think the Seahawks retain that number 1 seed. Just knowing Sam Darnold the last year, knowing how he plays, and I just think the Seahawks are honestly. I know the 49ers just beat the Bears and looked really good, and they've looked really good all year. But I still think the Seahawks are just better. And now I'm going to go against myself a little bit here. I don't think they go to the Super Bowl. I think they could get out of the first round, but I don't see them really going anywhere. But I'm going to take them to beat the Niners, though. I don't think they drop that game, especially with the number 1 seed on the line. I don't think they do. I think everything else kind of stays the same. I feel like this is a trap game for the Eagles. That's just how I feel, but I still think they get the job done because it's home, and it's one of those type of games. Bears retain that 2 seed. I think the Panthers get him, but I think they win that game. I think they win.
Okay, yeah.
I don't make it, obviously, but they're going to make it. They're going to get in, but it's not going to be under the circumstances of what you just said. Mm-hmm. So my projection would be Seattle number 1, Bears 2, Eagles 3, Carolina 4. Pretty much how it is now. I don't see much movement at all.
Yeah, no much movement. All right. Listen, I don't know how I lost credibility by picking San Fran. I think they're the hottest team in the league right now. I look at the way Brock Purdy's playing. I don't care how good your defense is.
Right now,
Brock Purdy's carving up everyone. I just think, and I think that for the San Francisco, they have the postseason pedigree. They've been there. They've done it. The Kyle Shanahan, terrific coach. I know I'm not saying that Mike McDonald's not, but I just think that Kyle Shanahan is. I think that he can make the difference there.
Yeah, but here's the thing, JD. This is a little thing this is how I envision it in my head. 49ers drop this one to Seattle. 49ers get fired up, put a beating on Carolina, and cruise to the playoffs.
All right, I could see it that way too.
That's what I think's going to happen. It's just the way that it's being set up. I think they drop this game and then they get fired up and they put a beating on Carolina and cruise through.
All right,
they set the tone against Carolina, and
all right.
There we go.
Listen, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't feel that the 49ers are going to lose this one, and I think that they're just going to ride it all the way. And they have they could potentially play a Super Bowl at home and not even leave for 5 straight games. Leading up to that. I just think that that's just what they're going to be able to do.
And that in itself just sounds too I don't know. It just sounds like obviously it could happen with this one game, but it just sounds like it won't. You know what I mean? It's just something you think about, and you're like, "Wow, that would be cool." But are they really going to beat the Seahawks? I don't know.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. This is why we're predicting, and I love doing that. It's a big thing in sports. Now let's go to baseball, where nothing's really going on again. I don't know what I'll talk about it. I'll have a little bit of a moment in a little bit. But Tyler Soderstrom signed a 7-year, $86 million deal with the A's. He hit 25 homers last year with 93 RBIs in his rookie season. So the A's have decided to lock him up early. Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker all locked up for another, I think, 5 years together. So the A's are actually being proactive, which I'm shocked by. I'm going to be honest.
That's not a team I thought would be doing anything right now.
Yeah, I'm shocked by that. I really am.
Good for them, though. Good for them.
Good for them. Yeah, they actually identify they have good players, and they're like, you know what, we're going to keep these guys. I know they traded Mason Miller, but that was one of those things they felt they can get better without him. But the good players they have there, Nick Kurtz is another guy. He's a really young player as well. I think he'll be a guy that gets locked up soon as well. So they have a bunch of players that their lineup-wise, they're really good. They have a deep lineup, and I think with time, the A's can actually be, a pretty good team. Other MLB news, Zach Eflin re-signs with the Orioles, 1 year, $10 million deal. Yeah, when we're talking about Zach Eflin in the news, that means nothing's going on. Let's keep it like that.
I remember him on the Phillies.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, in the Phillies 5 years ago, and he's one of the hot headlines right now. Hunter Harvey signs a 1-year deal with the Cubs. He was injured all of last year. And Esteury Ruiz, former AL stolen base champ, he was traded to the Marlins from the Dodgers. He had 67 stolen bases in 2023. And the last 2 years with the Dodgers, he bounced between AAA and the MLB. And let's lead this into my chalked moment of the week. I haven't done one of these in a while because nothing's really been annoying me. I'm going to be honest with you to talk about. But Biggie, you know what is annoying me? The MLB offseason. The MLB offseason is really bad right now. Really, really bad.
It sucks. It sucks.
It's not even just this year because it happens every year. But why does it have to take so long? Why?
I don't get it.
We said it
training's in what, 2 months?
Yeah, literally. It's not even right now. It's January in 2 days, so it's a month. I mean, literally a month away. because the games start. It's a joke. I don't understand. NFL gets it done quick. NBA gets it done quick. NHL gets it done quick, and then we got the MLB that want to take their sweet time for whatever reason. I just don't. I don't get it, man. I really don't understand it. And on top of the Mets not doing and that's not doing anything either. That's frustrating me as well. But my chalk moment though was the entire MLB offseason. Just can we get some news? Can we get the big names rolling? Can we get something? It's already almost January, and there's just so many guys out there. Kyle Tucker, what happened to him? He hasn't been talked about in weeks. Cody Bellinger, where's Cody Bellinger going?
I don't know.
CT wants to know where Cody Bellinger's going. I mean,
CT. I wish we can get him on tonight. I want to hear his opinion on this horrible MLB offseason.
Well, I didn't want to say it yet, but tomorrow there's going to be a post going out. We're going to have a Knicks live stream next Monday night for Knicks versus Pistons. So CT will be on.
Yes.
CT will be on. So we will get CT's thoughts on the entire MLB offseason. He does his CT balling when he talks about all these guys that sign. But I want CT to go on a rant. I want to be like, CT, what is going on, with the offseason? So we'll talk to him next week. And if anyone wants to be a guest for that Knicks game, reach out. If we have too many, we'll kind of split them up by quarter and stuff like that. Because I know we have a few. Yeah. We'll figure it out. So if you guys want to be on, whoever it is, just reach out to me or Biggie after the show, and we'll get back to you. We'll fit you in. We'll find a way to do that. Let's go to the NBA, where Nikola Jokic, who has been one of the best players, probably is the best player in the entire NBA for years now. He avoids a serious injury. He's out for a month, but could it look like and could have been much worse? Biggie, he's averaging 30 points per game, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists. For a big man, that is insane. I couldn't believe that. When I know Jokic is great, but 30, 12, and 11 is absurd for him to be able to, to do that, which is crazy. I can't believe that Jokic is playing at this level once again, but he's hurt, so he'll be out for a month. But he avoided injury. I'll tell you that. He avoided major injury. Other NBA news we have is Isaiah Hartenstein hurt again with a calf injury. So he had one and now gets one again, which I think I talked about that like a month ago, and he's already hurt again, which is crazy. Miles Bridges from the Hornets, he's injured as well. And Kobe White and Josh Giddey injured in the Bulls' loss the other night as well. So a lot of injuries happening in the NBA, which kind of happens this time of the year. I feel like it's just like the in-between period when the beginning of the year, and now obviously when you hit the home stretch after Christmas, where the guys can get injured a little bit and it kind of hurts them. But let's do our standings update. Biggie, you can, if you want, you can do the Eastern Conference because I know we're both Eastern Conference guys, but I'll let you do the Eastern Conference, and then I'll do the West. But let me start off with the West so I give you some time to get the East pulled up. Number 1 seed, Oklahoma City Thunder. They're 28-5, so they're right where they have been all year. But they actually lost a few games along the way, but they're overcoming that as they go. Spurs are 23-9. They're 4.5 from the Thunder. They've beaten the Thunder 3 times. So the Thunder have lost 5 games. They lost to the Spurs 3 times. So I think the Spurs have a little bit of a recipe of success in beating the Thunder. Then we got the Nuggets at 22-10. So Denver's right there, but curious to see what happens with them as they lost Jokic. Rockets 20-10. They're a game from the 3 seed, 2 games from the 2 seed. I like Houston a lot. I hyped them up before the year started. I really like what Houston is doing. Lakers at 20-10 as well, so tied with the Rockets. They did lose to them on Christmas. Timberwolves at 21-12. So Minnesota is right there as well. So like I said last week, the top 6 teams in the West, really good. I think that the Thunder are much above everyone else. I think that even though the Spurs beat them, if the Thunder played the Spurs in the postseason, I think that Thunder would win. And I think those other 5 teams, Spurs, Nuggets, Rockets, Lakers, Timberwolves, all can very easily beat each other. They're all really good. Suns at 19-13. Golden State Warriors 17-16. So they're kind of, teetering at that 500 mark. Grizzlies are your 9 seed at 15-17. And the Trailblazers are 14-19 as your 10 seed. So those last 2 playing teams are under 500. And then the rest of the West, we got the Jazz at 12-19, Mavericks at 12-22, Clippers 10-21, Kings 8-24, and the Pelicans at 8-26. So after the 8 seed, which are the Warriors, West is not good. What is that? 2, 4, 6, 17. The last 7 teams in the West. So basically half the Western Conference is under 500. So you see your top teams and the rest are not very good. But what's going on in the East?
A little interesting stuff. Guess who's number 1 in the East?
It's the Pistons still. Yeah, I think someone's coming for them.
24-8. Wow. And then we also have the New York Knicks, 23-9. They're amazing, man. Wow. I got to tell you, they're all I thought them firing Thibodeau was a big deal. Like I thought it was going to hurt them, but man, they haven't missed a beat. I think they look better than they did last year.
They actually do, yeah.
They look a lot better, which is crazy to say because they were in the Eastern Conference Final. But yeah, and then below them, 4.5 games out of first is the Boston Celtics, who have actually been kind of a surprise this year.
Very surprising to me.
I'll tell you that. Yeah, they've been actually pretty surprising. Another big surprise, the Toronto Raptors are 20-14. They're playing pretty good basketball right now. How about that? Yeah, and then the Orlando Magic are 5th at 18-15. Miami Heat are, playing, those two teams who usually aren't. The Magic have been actually kind of competitive the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm not being, a crazy good franchise in the NBA. The Miami Heat, the Sixers are above 500 right now. That's more than they've been in the last year. The Cavs are having an awful season. Evan Mobley was out for a little bit, but still, you still have, Donovan Mitchell, for Christ's sake. Come on. 18-16, they just don't look good.
That Christmas game was great, though. I'll tell you that. I know it wasn't the result, but that was a great game.
Yeah, they look like a shell of their former selves right now. The Chicago Bulls, 15-17, kind of fell off a little bit. They played really good at the beginning, and now they kind of fell off. Same with the Hawks, 15-19. They started off all right, and now they're like, bottom there, below 500. And then how about this? This is actually kind of surprising here. This bottom half. Well, not surprising, but we have two teams that are kind of shockers here. The Milwaukee Bucks are 14-19. They're not very good.
No, they're
not. I think Giannis's time in Milwaukee's coming to an end
soon. Yep,
this is a sign of the times, JD. And then the Charlotte Hornets. That's no surprise. They're not very. They don't have any team. They don't have anybody besides LaMelo.
Yeah,
that's really about it. Brooklyn Nets are god awful. Just bad. Same with the team below them, the Washington Wizards. Bad. And a team that should not be bad is the Indiana Pacers. They're the worst team. 6 wins on the year. What's going on? What the heck?
I really don't know. Like I know they
seriously, don't. I'm being crazy right now, but what is going on in Indiana?
I don't know.
You didn't lose that much, dude. You didn't lose your whole freaking team. Like, come on now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I cannot believe that this terrible. But even the Pistons built back better than the Jets. That's true because I pulled it up. I pulled it up right here. So in 2018, the Pistons made the postseason. They were a 500 team. Since then, they had 20 wins, 20 wins, 23 wins, 17 wins, 14 wins, and then last year they had 44 wins. So they went up 30 wins, from the year before to last year. And now this year they have 24 already, probably going to win 50 at least. I would say they win at least 50 games. They're probably really more. Right, probably more than 50. And for Detroit, I think they're going to be a really good team. But when the Knicks play them, which is why I want to do the stream Monday night, because it's a good test for Detroit. Are you at the same level as the Knicks? Yeah, you may be better than them right now, but the Knicks are, they've been really good lately. Like they've been good all year, but lately they've won. They're like 14-4.
They're at their best right now.
They look great, and they don't even have a full, complement of a team right now. There's guys missing games every so often. That's why I want to do that Monday night because we'll see. We'll see what the Pistons look like against a top team, and we'll see if the Knicks, if the Pistons got any closer to the Knicks, and if the Knicks are really for real, you win. You just win the game, you move on, treat it like a regular, like any other game that you play, and you move on to the next one. So I think that's why I wanted to do it, and we'll have obviously guests, and if you want to be a guest, reach out. We'll have a lot of different takes, personalities throughout the show. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to that. Let's do NHL. Just a standings update. There was really no news, honestly. I don't know if you had any, Biggie, but I didn't really see any news that was worth talking about over the last week in the NHL.
Nothing too crazy right now. No.
Yeah, there was nothing really to really talk about. So I kind of avoided that. But we could do the standings, and then we'll hit college football, which we gotta update our bowl. Our bowl games that no one really cares about, but we care about. So that's why we're going to talk about them, especially Biggie. I do it for Biggie. I'll tell you that. And then we'll do how you doing and then a pick 'em. But let's do our NHL standings update here, where I'll start off with the West again, and then Biggie can take over the East because do
the West slowly because I got to find the remote. Tennessee and Illinois, the Music City Bowl is a 1-point game with 2 minutes
okay.
left.
Yeah, pull that up. We'll give an update on that in a little bit. Let's do the Western Conference in the NHL. The Avalanche still with only 2 regulation losses. They're 29-2-7 with 65 points. Dallas Stars 25-7-7 with 57 points. So from last week to this week, a little separation between those two teams. Minnesota Wild 24-10-6 with 54 points. And then there's a drop off. Utah Mammoth 18-19-3 with 39 points. You have a 15-point difference between third and fourth place in the West, in the Central Division in the West, which is crazy, especially this time of year. You don't see it that early, not even halfway through the year. Then we got the Predators 17-17-4 with 38 points. You got the Blues at 15-17-8 with 38 points. You got the Jets at 15-18-4 with 34 points. And then the Blackhawks 14-18-6 with 34 points. So you have those top 3. You have the Avalanche, Stars, and Wild. And then you have that huge drop-off after that, 15 points separating third and fourth place. And, from fourth place down is only separated from fourth to fifth. Fourth, fifth, sixth, eighth. From fourth to eighth is only separated by 5 points. So that's what's going on in the Central Division. And then let's go to the Pacific, where it's a lot more tight, where the Oilers are in first. So they're back in first place where they usually are, 20-14-6 with 46 points. Vegas Golden Knights 17-9-11, 45 points. Anaheim Ducks 21-16-2 with 44 points. You got the Kings 16-13-9 with 41 points. San Jose Sharks 19-17-3 with 41 points. You got the Kraken 16-14-7 with 39 points. Calgary Flames 17-18-4 with 38 points. And then the Canucks at 16-19-3 with 35 points. So, Oilers are in first, but they only have a 1-game lead above Vegas. Then Vegas is only a 1 game above Anaheim. And then, the rest of the division. Very close in the Pacific, not so much in the Central. But Biggie, I know you're very excited about that game, which we'll get we'll update that in a little bit. But what do we have in the Eastern Conference? The Eastern Conference standings.
Yeah. All right. So start with the Atlantic Division. The Detroit Red Wings are playing great hockey right now. I can tell you what, they look really, really good. They're 40-23.
They sustained it.
Yeah, they haven't fallen off, which I'm surprised, unlike some of these teams here in the Atlantic Division. The Tampa Bay Lightning have picked it up. 38-22, 13. Not 38. Oh my God, 22-13. Then the Red Wings are 23-14. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. 47 points on the year. Montreal, they've kind of fallen off a little bit, but they're still in that top 3. They're 20-12, 46 points on the year. Florida's kind of picked it back up a slight bit, 21-15, 44 points. And the team of the last couple of weeks is the Buffalo Sabres, man. Let me tell you, they look good right now. They're playing some really good hockey. That team's coming together. They do it every year. They have like a month stretch where they're really, really good.
Or they play good and then they die down.
Then they go back to being the Buffalo Sabres,
Yeah.
But they're 20-14, 44 points. They're tied with Florida for points right now. Boston is 20-18. They're having a down year. I just think the days of Boston being a consistently good hockey team are over for now. They're obviously going to rebuild a little bit, but franchises like that do. But I think this is a little bit of a down period for the Bruins. I don't think this is a sustainable period for them right now. The Ottawa Senators, they're playing decent. They're always middle of the pack. They're never great. They're never they're never horrible. They're second to last. And this is the biggest surprise for me. Toronto's last right now, 17-15, 40 points on the year. I think they're tanking. It's weird to say in hockey, but I think they're trying to get Gavin McKenna. They're trying to get a higher lottery odds so they can go after Gavin McKenna.
Because they've been in the postseason every year, but they don't win. So I get it.
Yeah, they're usually first round exits, and then the one year they make it to the second or third round. So
yeah,
that's just different. But then let's get into the actual good division of hockey, the Metropolitan Division. Carolina at number 1, 24-11, 51 points on the year. They look great. Carolina is really, really good.
Separating too.
They're just very, very good. And then the Islanders, man, where they come from.
Schaefer, man, we gave him a shout out.
Schaefer has changed the culture of that team. You know what I mean? It's most of the same guys except him. It's that older core of guys. Bo Horvat and Barzell. I mean, they're playing great. It's awesome. I don't mind the Islanders. I don't mind them, but now I do because they're ahead of the Flyers right now.
Yeah, now you have to care about them.
I've had a decent streak of their own. Obviously dropping some pretty crucial games in the last couple of weeks. They dropped like key ones like Buffalo, dropping the game to Buffalo, dropping a game to Utah, stuff like that. You shouldn't be doing that. Dropping a game to Seattle, losing 4-1 on Sunday. You can't do that. They're third, though. They are third in the Metro right now, 19-11, 7 overtime losses. They love overtime, JD. They love it. That is their favorite thing to do. They hold on to the game until they go into a shootout, and then they lose.
That's a lot of overtime losses already.
A lot. 45 points, though. Washington's picked it back up, as they should have. I mean, that team is too talented to be last in the Metro. They were at one point. They were second to last at one point. They're now in fourth. The Rangers look awful. Don't know what's going on there. 19-17, 43 points on the year, and 5-10-3 at home. 14-7-2 on the road, though.
That's saving the season right now.
Yep.
Saving the season.
And the New Jersey Devils, injuries have plagued them, but they are bad right now. They're actually down to Toronto 2-0.
They were in first place for the first 5 weeks of the year. Now
I think they started off 8-0. And they're losing to Toronto right now 2-0. And they're 20-16-42. And another team that fell off the face of the earth is the Pittsburgh Penguins. The record is 16-12, but they have 9 overtime losses. You thought the Flyers were bad? Look at the Penguins. Yeah. Penguins in extra hockey. 41 points in the year. And then Columbus, that's just a team, you're not unexpected. They're kind of the bottom feeder of the Metro. They're just not good. It's just, plain and simple of it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. That wraps up the NHL with the NHL standings, which we talked about for weeks now. The Metro, most competitive in the East, and the Pacific in the West, just because of the teams in it. And the Central, I've never seen anything like it, how much it's separated, over the weeks. Let's talk about college football before we hit how you doing, and then our pick'em, which obviously, pretty much what we did before, and people probably know who we're going to pick already, but we'll remind everyone exactly who we're going with. But Michigan hires their new head coach, Kyle Whittingham from Utah. This is a guy that was going to step away from Utah. I don't know if it was going to be retiring or not, but he's stepping right back into the coaching. Yeah, it was. And Michigan brings their guy in. Listen, I think this is actually a good move for Michigan. You know more than me on the entire college football landscape. But I think this is good in the sense of it seems like he's the perfect guy to get them out of the limelight of what they're doing wrong and get them to, play good football his way. Because he was at Utah for 18 years, I believe.
Yeah,
and he won a ton of games. He was in 3 different conferences. Did very well. He did very, very well in Utah. And I think he has more resources now with Michigan. He's just got to, quiet the outside noise after what happened, which obviously is not his fault. But he's tasked with that on top of coaching, a football team there.
Yeah, which is, awful. But, I think it's a great hire. Obviously, he was going to retire, but look at the success he's had. It's not like he had a terrible season and retired. I mean? It's not like he really fell off with Utah. So, it's just like he's continuing it. And Michigan is a program that can, bring in some talent, rebuild. That's just how they are.
For sure. And he's produced from – I'm not saying Utah has no program, but he's produced NFL players from Utah. You think what he can do with Michigan, which is already produced, tons and tons and tons of NFL players anyway. So I think it's a really good
from a national championship.
Yeah, I think it's a really good, mesh of his style and Michigan being a really good spot to produce players. So I think it's a good mix. Then other college ball we had here, some news. Chip Kelly. So he got fired. He went from Ohio State to Vegas to coach the Raiders as their OC, back to college in the Big Ten where he's Northwestern's offensive coordinator, which is probably right? Biggie has to be one of the worst.
They're the worst team in the Big Ten historically, yes.
Yeah, and
even worse than Rutgers.
Yeah, I was going to say that. And look where they play their games. It's very hard to score points there in general. So I don't know if Chip Kelly's style offense is going to work when your stadium is here and the ocean is right here. I don't know if that's going to be a good Chip Kelly spot. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Chip and his new job. Marcus Freeman officially announced he's staying with Notre Dame after there was some outside noise saying. I agree. I think for him, I think he could be an NFL coach one day. I just don't think it's the time for it.
I don't think so. I just think, and he's a great coach. He's fantastic, but he's more of a bringing guys in type coach rather than he's more of a recruiter. And I think that's just his way of coaching. So I don't think he'd pan out in the NFL just for that reason. That's most of the reason why college coaches don't, because, you bring in the talent, you can recruit, But, if you only have to coach, if that is your only job and you don't have to recruit, I think it gets, tampered a little bit. It's different. It's a lot different. I don't think Marcus Freeman is one of those guys that would pan out in the NFL, not just because he's a bad coach, just because of the difference in how you work the team. You know what I mean? I feel like Marcus Freeman's a perfect college football coach. I will die on that hill. As much garbage as I talk about Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman is arguably one of the best coaches. He's one of the best coaches in college football. He is. He's fantastic. I love Marcus Freeman. Like, he makes them a little more likable for me. Better to look at than Brian Kelly was. That's what I always say.
I agree.
I really do respect Marcus Freeman. He's a fantastic coach,
and he's become one really quickly too. Like,
yes,
he hasn't been the
that
head
role.
coach.
And took right over.
He hasn't become.
Obviously, it helps when you bring in a top recruiting class every year, but still, that's a credit to him that he's able to retain that.
He's able to do it. Yeah, he's able to do that. He's able to go out there and be able to go out there and get players. And for me, I was happy. I was like, oh, thank God we had. I didn't think he would leave, but to hear he's actually, he's saying it himself. Like, I'm not leaving. That makes I think all Notre Dame fans very happy, and we appreciate the type of coach he is, because he tells you like it is, which is the best. I think that Marcus Freeman. I know you're saying you don't think he would be an NFL coach or good at it, I should say, but I do feel that one day he could be, but I just don't think he's ready for that. He hasn't been
definitely not ready for that yet.
Yeah, he's not ready for that just yet. And I know people are saying going to the Giants. I don't think that would be a good spot for him either.
No,
that would not be a good landing spot. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with Marcus Freeman. North Texas. So I knew we drew North Texas. I think they beat San Diego State 50-40. What was it? 49-47 against San Diego State the other day. Drew Mestamaker. I'm pretty sure I said the name right. Yeah. He's going to enter the transfer. He will enter the transfer portal, and he was just a freshman this year, and he lit it up. He's going to join Coach Eric Morris, probably, I would say, at Oklahoma State, because that's where he was. Listen, college is like that. If your coach leaves to go to another school and you're in good relationship with him, and that's usually how it goes. Usually players will follow their coach. And Oklahoma State's a better program too, or should be, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say better program. It's a Power 4,
like a better, competition and stuff like that, where they have the ability to be better.
Power 4 scheduled.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Oklahoma State was bad last year. Let's put it that way. They were, they sucked. But it's probably going to go to Oklahoma State. He's a pretty good quarterback, so keep an eye on him, for a couple of years that go by. Then the bowl update. So every week for the last couple of weeks, we've been doing our bowl update. This is probably the longest one we've had because, last week there was a ton of games leading up to now. So Western Kentucky, they beat Southern Miss 27-16. And Biggie, whenever you feel like you want to jump in on these games, just go ahead. I'm just going to read the scores out, just so every single bowl game will be covered by us. Ohio wins 17-10 over UNLV. Hawaii beats California 35-31. That was on Christmas Eve. That's the only reason why.
That was a pretty decent game. I mean, that was a good one. I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, that was the only game. That was the only sporting event on Christmas Eve, and it was until nighttime. So that's how I know. I know. Yeah, exactly. Because their time zones. Northwestern, I know we talked about them before, but they beat Central Michigan 34-7. I
want to talk about this.
Go ahead. Yeah.
This is the difference between Power 4 football and Group of 5 football. I love lower level football, but this is the best example you're ever going to see of playing a Big Ten versus playing a MAC schedule every year. That's it right there. If you want a direct comparison of, playing teams like Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Iowa. My God, wait, I almost said Vanderbilt. Jesus Christ. Why did I say I was thinking of someone else. Playing teams like that, like playing a Big Ten schedule every year versus playing, Toledo, Ohio, Miami, Ohio, Buffalo, UMass, same conference as UMass. I mean, that's different. There's a prime example of it right there. Even though Northwestern's one of the worst college football teams I've seen play. That's a difference right there.
Yeah, and I think that's when people you need to be like, oh, you got to include the Group of 5. You're seeing numerous different games that go by that just show that they're not on the same level. And it's nothing against them. It's just the way it is. Like, you got to just be able to accept that. It's just a different level a athlete, I guess you could say, right? But the difference between Group of 5 and Power 4. Minnesota wins 20-17 over New Mexico. That was PJ Fleck undefeated in bowl games. He's just been incredible. I think this is
a little fun fact. One of those bowl game wins was against Syracuse, and I watched it live, the Pinstripe Bowl in 2022. I watched that happen.
So Syracuse is a part of another streak.
Yeah, right. Yeah, another not good one.
Another not good streak. I think that was this the game that was in the Arizona Diamondback Stadium? I'm trying to remember. I saw a game, one of the games on ESPN. I flipped the ESPN on.
I want to say this was that one. Yeah, I want to say that was the one.
The commentators were half in the pool, they were before the game.
I think that the Rate Bowl was that one. Yeah,
it was right. It was right.
So,
yeah. Okay, I thought so. UTSA wins 57-20 over Florida International. I don't think anyone cares about that game. But
I did. I thought it was going to be good. I genuinely thought it was going to be a really good game.
Well, it clearly wasn't. It clearly was not good. 37-point game. East Carolina, I'm sorry, beats Pitt 23-17. I watched this game because I really like Pitt's quarterback, but Pitt, that's not a good look, man. You cannot lose that game.
Man. Oh, it's the classic. Oh my God, Illinois just beat Tennessee on a last-second field goal. Sorry to cut you off. Wow. Oh my God.
What was the score?
Oh, how the mighty have fallen, Tennessee. Oh my goodness.
What was the score?
30-28.
30. Okay, we'll add that one on the bottom.
Hit the last-second field goal to win the game. Illinois did. Wow. How the mighty fall, huh?
That's crazy. Tennessee was supposed to be insane this year.
They started off pretty well.
Yeah.
And they fell off the face of the earth. And they just lost to Illinois in the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl.
Nashville, right? That's in Nashville?
Yep. At the Titans.
That's the only reason why I knew that.
Stadium.
Notre Dame played in that one a few years ago.
Yeah, they should have played in one this year too, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, they would have been in the Pop-Tart Bowl probably.
Yeah, they would have shown the committee that they belonged in the playoffs. They would have won by 50.
Yeah. Penn State, they won 22-10 against Clemson. That was the
that was one of the worst football games I've ever watched.
Oh my God.
One of the worst football games I've ever watched.
Oh, yeah. Clemson, they just for them to actually get a first down, I think they have to actually go on their hands and knees and crawl to get 10 yards. That's how, their offense looks not fun to watch at all. Army beat UConn. That was in the Fenway Bowl, I believe, 41-16.
Yep. Yeah, at Fenway. Yeah.
Yeah, Fenway. I think they played in that last year too, UConn, if I remember right.
They did, and they beat UNC. That was a big deal that they won a bowl game.
Yeah, it was at Fenway. Fenway.
They're the reason why they were good left, and now they're terrible again.
Yeah. BYU beat Georgia Tech 25-21. Fresno State wins 18-3 against Miami of Ohio. North Texas, who we talked about before, wins 49-47 against San Diego State. Virginia wins 13-7 against Missouri. Very low scoring game. I think a lot of people thought Missouri would win that one, but Virginia did just enough. Houston wins 38-35 over LSU. Now LSU is going to turn obviously their page into a new chapter with Lane Kiffin coming up. Georgia Southern won 29-10. That was today, I believe, against App State.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. I'm sorry. And then there was 2 games today. Let's add those in there as well. I know you just said Illinois won 30-28, but it was a game before that today.
Yeah, Coastal Carolina and La Tech in the Independence Bowl.
Yeah,
I watched the end of that. Coastal completely sold the game away. They threw a pick and they were trying to go in and do something, but they couldn't. They threw a pick. They gave the game away basically, and then LA Tech. It was 20-14, 20-14, and then LA Tech got the ball back, and then they just kicked the field goal at the end. Just kick a field goal, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So that was it. 23-14, and Illinois beat Tennessee, and now we have USC versus TCU, and then we'll get to the other games next week when we swing around next Tuesday. We'll talk about the games that we missed, but there's not many bowl games left. It's just going to be pretty much the CFP. But let's talk about that right now. So the scheduling. Yes. I'll go through the schedule first, and then we'll break down each game, and then we can, our picks are going to be out there for tomorrow. So that'll be something that we get to in a little bit. But what I did was the post will come out tomorrow. I reposted with what we got right, and everyone will see that tomorrow as well. So it doesn't matter who we think is going to win because we already made our picks, beforehand. But tomorrow night, Miami versus Ohio State. That's one is at 7:30. That should be, I think, a good game. But I think Ohio State. You can obviously see it in my picks. Ohio State just has too much firepower. I think that Miami won't be able to handle. That'll be the Cotton Bowl. So that would probably be in the Cowboy Stadium, right? Cotton Bowl is usually in Cowboy Stadium. Oregon versus Texas Tech is the first game on New Year's Day. That is the Orange Bowl, so that will be in Miami. Then Alabama versus Indiana is at the Rose Bowl. I don't really have to explain that. Everyone knows what the Rose
Everyone
Bowl
knows
is.
what that is, I think, right? I would hope.
If
right?
you don't know the Rose Bowl, then you probably never watched college football. I was going to say, I don't think I have to explain that one. And then the last game of the night will be the Sugar Bowl, which is usually in New Orleans, which I'm pretty sure it is again. Ole Miss versus Georgia. Georgia was in the same game last year, and they lost to Notre Dame. So see if they can get over the hump to get to the Fiesta Bowl, which would be next week. Probably going to play Ohio State, the week after. But Biggie, any thoughts on these games as a whole? Because obviously you did your picks, but anything that maybe you change your mind on a little bit? Anything? What's your favorite game? What's your favorite game of these four?
I'll be honest with you, man. Obviously, I think Indiana. I it's funny. So you guys know I'm obviously a Syracuse fan. All geared up with Indiana stuff, man. I got a lot for Christmas. I didn't expect it, but I did. I got a Mendoza jersey t-shirt. That's all I asked for. That's all I wanted. I got one of those, which is because it's him. I got an Indiana hoodie and an Indiana winter hat too. I'm like, oh,
you're
so
an
I guess
Indiana
it's
fan
happening right now. I guess I'm an Indiana fan too now. I guess.
That's funny.
So yeah. So I think that game's gonna be awful. I think Indiana wins by a lot. That's just what I think. I think Bama has no shot going into the Rose Bowl in that one. So I don't think much changes on what I think here because the matchups are pretty much what we predicted except one game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got
everything else. I projected. I projected
3.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you reminded me there. I could pull it up again, but I had 4 out of 4. Jets specialist had 4 out of 4. Ryan, I know he's probably trolling in the comments.
Orion,
and then we had Orion, as some people know him. And then you were 3 out of 4, and then CT was 2 out of 4 because I think CT picked Oklahoma. I think
he did.
I believe he picked Oklahoma.
And could you believe no one picked Georgia, man? Or what was it? No one picked no one picked Georgia. I can't. He couldn't believe it.
Ohio State. And that was funny. Oh man. But yeah, the games would be Miami versus Ohio State, Oregon versus Texas Tech, Alabama versus Indiana, and Ole Miss versus Georgia. So, I'll be 2 of the 4 games. Pat McAfee will have his field pass that I will definitely be watching. I love watching any of his content, and he'll be on this on the field doing his own version of commentating. Yes, he made his own bracket and couldn't believe it. Never seen that one in my life. I never heard of that before. If CT's watching, please explain why you're amazed as if you didn't make your own bracket.
Orion, yeah. We'll see.
Perfect bracket. We'll see. We'll see what happens with these next 4 games. And then next week will be January 8th. When is that? Thursday or Friday? Thursday, right? Next Thursday?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, next Thursday we'll have a game, and next Friday we'll have a game. So we'll break those down next week as well. So we're kind of hitting the end of college football. A couple more weeks left of that. NFL is kind of, going to not really die down, but the team obviously not as many games coming up. So it's going to be a lot of less football, more other stuff soon. But let's do how you doing now, and then we'll do our pick 'em very quickly before we sign off here. But Biggie, I'll let you go first. Anything you have on your on your teams?
Yeah, well, the Eagles again. I think they're a first round exit. I don't care who they're playing. Their offense is too unpredictable and inconsistent. That game on Sunday was abysmal. The Flyers need to win tonight. They need to get back to their winning ways on this West Coast road trip. They're playing at Vancouver at 10 o'clock puck drop. So they got to get things back on track. The Cavs, I haven't watched them much because they've been awful. It's like you with hockey. Like if my team's not going to do well, I'm not going to watch. It's like you with the Rangers. It's like me with the Cavs. If they're not going to do well, I started watching again because they were good last year, and now they're not. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Evan Mobley being out did hurt, though, but, still you have all that talent. Do something with it. And then Yankees haven't done really anything. Again, the same as the whole MLB. Syracuse basketball, they play – when did they play again? I think they play Clemson next. I want to say that's who they have next. So they're getting into ACC play. They need to do way better in the ACC, way better than they did last year. And then Syracuse has been losing guys, man. I don't think I've been on since we've lost our some of our key players at the portal. So I think I mentioned to you the quarterback, that Luke Carney kid, the one from Texas that threw for over 10,000 yards in high school. He entered the portal. and we literally saved his red shirt for him to come back next year, and he transferred out. And I get it, because Fran Brown straight up said he's going to go out and find two quarterbacks in the portal, basically telling everyone else to, hey, transfer. You're not going to see the field at all. Basically, you don't even have a shot, because I'm going in the portal and getting two more guys. That's what he said. He said, I'm going in the portal. I'm getting two guys, two quarterbacks, two reliable backup quarterbacks. That's what he said. Because Angeli's the guy, we know that, unless we bring in someone like freaking DJ Lagway or like, an SEC level guy. I mean, that would be different, but that's not happening. We don't need to do that. We need to use our transfer portal and NIL money for things that matter, like offensive line and wide receivers for Steve Angeli, because we just lost one of our best ones. Daryl Gill just entered the transfer portal, who was one of our best receivers, and our starting running back entered the portal too, Yasin Willis, which is terrible because he was very, very good. And two of our starting O-linemen did, which is good because they sucked. I'll be honest with you. Our offensive line was terrible. Syracuse offensive line needs a fresh start. Like, we need 5 new faces up there. And I think now, like obviously last year was finding a new quarterback to replace Kyle McCord. But this year, I think the big portal hit we're going to have is running back. Now that Willis is in the portal, I think we're going to go after a top running back and bring and go after some. And it's tough to get recruit offensive line. It's tough to bring offensive linemen in from the portal. So you got to get a better offensive line, because the offensive line was a huge problem. If you upgrade that, you bring in a top running back in the portal. I don't know who's out there right now running backs wise in the portal, but I feel like we're going to be in the market for a big time running back. I just feel it. I feel like we should be. What I mean? Upgrade, because we just lost our number one guy. And obviously a backup quarterback, which is a tough sell. I think I talked about it already on the show, but it's going to be hard for Fran Brown to bring in someone that's reliable for Steve Angeli. It literally, you're going to pitch to a guy that I'm bringing you in. Like, how are you going to bring
this as like an insurance policy? It's very
hard.
Yeah,
that's what you are. You're basically an insurance policy for Steve Angeli. Yeah. I want you so bad. I want you to come here so bad. I need you here, but you're not going to play.
I mean, unless it's
you can go to a group of 5 school or somewhere else and start.
Unless it's someone that has had success before, has been injured himself, and looking for a little bit of a bounce back. But that's no one that's fully healthy is going to be willing to be a backup. I just and knowing that they will not be the starter, like, you can't. Well, it's hard to do that.
After what happened, you need to bring someone that can play. Ricky Collins never stepped foot on the field, and when he did, and when he like practice film and stuff, he just ran around. You know what I mean? Like, he never threw the ball that well. He was more of a mobile guy. We never saw anything out of him. You know what I mean? So, obviously there was the potential there, but you got now, after seeing what happened last year, you have to just say F potential and go get someone who can play.
Can actually play. Exactly.
In-game experience, because that was a complete mismanagement of the QB situation. Complete mismanagement. So, yeah, that's all I get doing. I don't know about you, but
yeah, well, I talked about the Jets before, so I'm not going to waste my breath on them again. I'm also going to be doing episode 87 that will be released on Thursday in the afternoon sometime, which is another post will be out as well tomorrow. So I won't do too much now, because I want to save the Knicks. I really want to dive in deep on the Knicks, like, just as a whole, and what difference Mike Brown has made. Because listen, I was on the fence of, listen, you're firing Tom Thibodeau for Mike Brown. It's pretty much the same. You're pivoting to nothing, to improve. That's what I said in the beginning. And Mike Brown has done things that Thibodeau didn't do, which is unlocking the Knicks on another level, which I didn't know if they had that with this team, but it seems like they do. They have a ton of depth, which I'll talk about, in episode 87 when I record that and release it. So I don't want to do, too much on that, but that's how I feel about the Knicks. I feel like right now Mike Brown is getting the most out of the group, and he's doing a little, 2 or 3 things differently that Thibodeau didn't do, which is making a big difference, and that's why they're 23-9 right now.
And the problem was never Thibodeau. It's just, I feel like they were kind of getting to that point. They finally did, and it's like, after a while, you kind of expected them to go to the finals, but they didn't. So I think maybe it was the right move firing Thibodeau, but Mike Brown's doing a lot better than he was. I think he's like you said, he's getting the most out of those guys. They're even better than they were last year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Knicks were, with Thibodeau, they were a great team. They I'm not saying great, but they were a good team. I think this year, the fact that he's really trusting a guy like Tyler Kolek. Last year, he was glued to the bench, wouldn't even sniff the court unless it was a blowout. This is a guy that's been in the middle of the rotation with injuries and stuff like that, and he's earning himself a full-time spot. You probably wouldn't have seen that if Tibbs was still the coach. A guy like Kevin McCullough, who had a game the other night where he played 23 minutes and had 13 points against the Hawks, never played more than that in that amount of minutes combined in his whole career. That's a guy that probably wouldn't have got a chance. There's a few other guys along the way. Mohamed Diawara. I always mess up his name, but he had 18 points last night. Started a few games already this year with Josh Hart being hurt. I mean, that's the thing. You wouldn't have seen that. So I feel like he's just unlocking a little more that we probably had here that we didn't know about, which I think that, listen, that's what they were looking for in Mike Brown. Be a guy that's a little more adaptable, not so stubborn about every single thing. You want it your way. You want it your way. You got to be able to, nowadays you got to be able to communicate with the player. Maybe that guy's not feeling his 100% himself. Give him a day today so he can play an extra 5 games before the season is over instead of riding him until the wheels fall off and then you don't have him when it really counts. I think those are the type of things that I'll talk about, tomorrow. I mean Thursday when the show comes out, which I'll get to. Those are the type of things that I really like, and what I'm seeing from Mike Brown, he's willing to do things differently. Which, listen, you're gonna do. He's keeping some things the same because it's working, and some things that you think that you can get a little more out of the team, you're gonna do that. You're gonna blend it together, and you got a 23-9 team. So
that's the thing with it. He's taking steps that Thibodeau never did, and not saying
he's going a little more. He's going a little more.
He's doing more for them that that they needed. Some of the things that are like hey, we should do this and should do that,
Right. I really like what he's doing right now. He's impressed me. I didn't think they were going to be, this good right away with him. I thought it would take a little time more the back half of the year into the playoffs, but he's been spectacular. With the Mets, they haven't done anything, so I have nothing to really talk about with them. I'm not going to, get upset about them again because I already did. Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman's back. Let's roll 2026. Hopefully we can make the playoff this time and not lose games in the beginning of the year. That would cost us a little bit. With the Rangers, nothing really on them as well. We got a few injuries. Fox and JT Miller are out. They're banged up. They're not really playing great hockey this year. Very lucky they're good on the road, or else we would be in really, big trouble. And then St. John's, the only team I haven't really touched upon at all during the show. Right now, they're 8-4. Haven't beat a good, a good team. But they 1-0 in the Big East. They beat DePaul a couple of weeks ago. Now they have Georgetown tomorrow night. So a little New Year's Eve Big East battle in DC, which we should win. I know it says 10-point favorite. I expect to win by more. We should be. The way that Big East is a little down this year, UConn's really the only really good team. Creighton will be good. Villanova will be good, but St. John should be either second or first place. So no excuses. We got to get back in the rankings before the year is over. We got to dominate Big East play. And when the conference isn't that good, you can't afford to slip up because it does not look good, for your metrics later in the year. So that's the thing we got to hammer these teams that we have to beat them bad. Just move on and keep going. But we got Georgetown tomorrow night, and then Providence on the weekend. So now this is going to be the start of, you play your two conference games a week until the end of the year. This is when, college basketball starts to have its fun. We haven't talked about college basketball in a while, but once the football dies down, we'll definitely talk about college basketball. And I'm a huge fan of it. And I know, Syracuse looks like they can be a little, they can actually be okay this year. Improvements.
I do and I don't, because I don't like. I think Adrian Autry needs to get fired, and if we do good, we're not going to fire him. So
right, I get it, but at least you see, competitive basketball. That's what you want to see. But they're 9-4 right now. They're playing good. They're on a little bit of a winning streak. I know they haven't played anyone big, but they play at 2 p.m. tomorrow. It's a little afternoon ACC basketball. But
that's right.
Clemson, at 2 o'clock. Clemson at 2 o'clock at home. But that'll do it for my how you doing as well. We touch upon it throughout the show anyway, so there's no need to even repeat. And if you missed anything I talked about the Jets, you can go back. I can't waste my my time on them anymore. But let's do the pick 'em, where I picked up 2 wins on Christmas and Biggie unfortunately did not. I am up 10 games on Biggie now. So I think I had a 2-game
I didn't even realize how bad my record is.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say I had a 2-game lead on you probably like 4 weeks ago, and I've won every single game since then. I have not lost. It's crazy. I'm at 22-14. You're at 12-24. But for this week, we're going to pick the 3 most important NFL games. Panthers versus Buccaneers. We got the Seahawks versus the 49ers and the Ravens versus the Steelers. You guys probably know who we already picked, but we'll do it again. I'll go first here. Like I said before, the Bucks are going to beat the Panthers, but the Panthers are going to make the playoffs. But the Bucks will win the game on Saturday. That's the first game of the Saturday doubleheader. Second game will be Seahawks versus 49ers. 49ers, like I said, are going to be the number 1 seed. They're going to win this game to do that. And then the Ravens versus the Steelers. Ravens will win the last game of the regular season. You leave that door open a little too much, that team's going to sneak in there, and the Ravens are going to win the division and head to the postseason.
All right, yeah, and like I said earlier, I think the Panthers make it and they win this game. I think they beat the Bucks. Again, it's just the way the Bucks have been playing. I don't see them winning this one. It's just the way it is. And again, I know the Seahawks right now, I mean, the 49ers are really hot, but I still think the Seahawks get the job done and they win to retain that number 1 seed. I just know how Sam Darnold is. And I think that they're in this type of situation. They're gonna win the game that they need to win. And then I'm agree with you. I'm gonna agree with you on the Ravens pick though. So I'm in agreement that the Steelers do lose this weekend and the Ravens do get in the playoffs and the Steelers don't make the playoffs and fire Mike Tomlin. Do we see it?
It's possible. He did have a winning season though. They love the winning 9-8 winning seasons now.
Yeah, but this will be the first time he hasn't made the postseason.
Making it in a while. Yeah, you're right.
First time in his coaching career, JD. He's never not made the postseason. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I kind of did, but I didn't at the same time. That's crazy.
Because they always just snuck in somehow. This year they may not.
All right, so we got two of the three. Are a little different, but we'll see what happens. Biggie needs a few wins here in the picks, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. He needs a few wins here, a few wins in the CFP bracket to get back in the standings, which is going to be the never-ending standings. We're going all the way to May, and then we'll reset after that. So it'll be a ton of games, to try to make up. But he has time. Biggie has some time. But any last thoughts you had here on another, really good episode 86, before we sign off here?
No, I'd say we got a lot talked about, a lot covered. It was awesome.
Yeah, of course. Like always, we're always trying to cover everything. We love the comments. Comments are once again great. I will, like I said, episode 87 will come out Thursday afternoon. Episode 88, which will be the Knicks live stream, will come out next Monday. And then our regularly scheduled show, episode 89, will be next Tuesday as well. So a lot coming up. And if you want to be that Knicks, you want to be on the Knicks stream, a guest or whatever the case may be, we will fit you on at some point. It doesn't matter when, we'll get you on there. As long as you know obviously what you're talking about. We're not going to have some random on there, but I'm sure that won't be the case. We have
never usually is. The people that watch us ain't randoms. They watch sports.
Yeah, exactly. They watch sports. So if you know basketball, even if you're not a Knicks or a Pistons fan, just reach out. We can put you on there. We're not just going to talk about Knicks or Pistons. We'll talk basketball in general. But yeah, that'll do it for episode 86. I want to thank everyone once again for supporting us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, TJ Production, JD Empire Sports Talk. See you guys.
See ya.